Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Bold and the Beautiful early spoilers December 8th to 12th, Eric's explosive fury and Taylor left speechless. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers for December 8th to 12th, 2025 suggest Eric Forrester John McCook is enraged and Taylor Hayes Rebecca Budig being wowed by something. As we always do on early edition day, we start with what's coming the rest of this week and then we'll talk about what is coming next week. With that in mind, Wednesday, December 3rd, we got Bill Spencer Don Diamont ranting at Ridge Forrester Torsten K for how dismissive he and Brooke Logan Catherine Kelly Lang were to Katie Logan Heather Tom. Interestingly, I saw a bunch of comments on soap social media with people saying that Katie was being extra and kind of dramatic, being so butthurt about this external PR firm, when realistically she probably shouldn't be handling PR on a matter that's closely involved with her son. Katie feels like Ridge and Brooke are not listening to her or supporting her. And then this external PR firm comes in and Brooke and Ridge are basically making Katie feel irrelevant. So, Bill may tell Ridge that he's just going to take Katie. I wonder if Brooke and Ridge will actually encourage Katie to go to Spencer Publications because Ridge was actually talking about Bill being good to Katie right now. So, if they tell her, if you want to think about it, I think Katie might get even saltier with them and she might actually go. Later, Donna Logan Jennifer Garai surprises Brooke. She gives her an update about Eric, and it looks like her honey bear is having some health problems. Of course, Brooke would likely run this news to Ridge if he hasn't already heard it straight from Eric himself. Hopefully, his cancer isn't back, but there are a lot of other things it could be. Honey bear is not exactly a spring chicken. Thursday, December 4th. We got Deacon Sharp Sean Cannon enjoying some family time with his kids, Hope Logan Annika Noel and Deke Sharp Harrison Cohn. Of course, Deke and Hope are super happy to be working together, and she's happy that they will both be at her wedding, which is coming in December, by the way. But at the same time, they are very concerned about Deacon and they really want him to give Sheila Carter Kimberlyn Brown the boot. To them, it looks like they completely put their marriage back together. But little do they know, Deacon is of the same mind about giving Sheila the boot and plugging somebody else into his life. However, I don't think he's going to tell his kids he's crushing on Taylor. Deacon might give them some glimmer of possibility if he starts talking up Taylor and about how much he really likes their therapy sessions, how much she's helping him, and how much admiration he has. If he gets really effusive with all those compliments about Taylor, Deke and Hope might start to think, hey, there might be something there. Also on Thursday, Ridge is telling Eric, you know what, Dad, go right off into the sunset. Enjoy yourself, with the implication of enjoying the time you have left. Ridge is telling Eric that's what he'd do if he was in the same position, but Eric is going to snap at Ridge impatiently. I am very worried we're about to get another depressing Eric dying near-death Christmas storyline ahead. That is not a present I want to unwrap. Not at all. Hopefully, that's not what Brad Bell is delivering, but I don't trust him. Things are also going to get really heated with Eric and Ridge. As they continue this conversation, Eric may want to keep pursuing his passion, which is fashion, up until his very dying breath. Hopefully, he's not dying and it's just some kind of little setback. But I'm guessing that Donna doesn't want Eric to risk his health by continuing to work. All of the Forresters and Logans may unite to pressure Eric to step back. I'm guessing he won't like that. Also, Deacon goes to visit Taylor and their chemistry keeps growing. It's getting off the charts. Of course, Sheila thinks she and Deacon are solid, but the man wants Taylor, and Deacon is going to try super hard to make it happen. I am cheering for his efforts. Friday, December 5th on Bold and the Beautiful, we got Steffi Forrester Jacqueline McInnes Wood opening up to Finn Finnegan Tanner Novlin about this very deep connection that she and her granddad Eric share. So, it sounds like by now that Steffi also knows that Eric is having some kind of medical issue, health crisis, and Steffi's very worried about her granddad's health. We'll see if he's being seen up at the hospital. Finn's not going to violate HIPAA to tell her things, but we'll find out. Eric's also one to go to hospitals off-screen. We've seen that when he was going through the cancer crisis. Finally, they brought one doctor to the house, and then late stage we had Bridget Forrester, Ashley Jones and Finn taking care of him and getting the miracle cure. So Finn should definitely be a consultant on this since he saved Eric's life before, and maybe that's what Steffi is asking. Can you look into this? Can you save my granddad? As a matter of fact, everybody is concerned about Eric's health issues by the end of this week. So, I think Brooke is going to agree with Ridge that Eric needs to take a step back and focus on his health. Donna obviously wants to support Eric, but also wants him to take care of himself, and she wants to take care of him. Steffi is probably going to agree with her dad, Ridge, but if everybody is lining up with concern and compassion, Eric may still dig in his heels and think that they just want him out because he is the old guard. The following week, December 8th through the 12th, we got Katie seriously considering working at Spencer Publications with Bill. I do wonder if Katie will try and take Will Spencer Crew Morrow with her if she goes, but I think he is going to want to stay right up under Electra Forrester Lania Grace at FC. Tension continues to grow between Eric and Ridge, and possibly between Eric and other members of the family. You know how he gets when he is sick. He gets defensive. He starts covering up. He doesn't want to be transparent, and he just wants to bury his head in the sand and carry on. We may be getting a whole replay of that Ridge versus Eric thing we had when they ended up in a fashion battle. Eric's health takes priority for the Forresters and the Logans and is going to become the new front burner topic that worries everybody heading into the holidays. But we also have happy news because there is a wedding to plan as well. Deacon and Hope continue discussing the state of Deacon and Sheila's marriage. I think that Hope and her brother may sense some fractures there, that they might be able to widen those gaps and get their dad away from Sheila. Once they get an inkling that Deacon is interested in Taylor, that's going to be all she wrote. They're going to be scheming full stop. Speaking of him, Deacon is going to try and figure out how to win Taylor's heart. I'm confident Deacon can effectively woo her, unless Sheila figures it out and does something scary to stop it. Here's what I'm also hoping is that we do not have Katie and Eric both battling health crises at the same time. Everybody was so worried about Katie's heart and they kept bringing it up, and I hope that was just a passing mention and something they're not going to circle back around to. Wedding planning heats up. Hope and Liam Spencer Scott Clifton will be married by the end of December. So, watch for Hope to start talking wedding gowns with her brother and what role he and Deacon will play in her wedding. In the glittering world of Forrester Creations, where secrets sit beneath every silk hem and alliances fray with the slightest pull of emotional thread, the week of December 8-12 promises a whirlwind of confrontations, confessions, and the kind of emotional aftershocks that shake the Forrester mansion to its core. Eric Forrester, long the patriarch of calm authority and refined restraint, finds himself standing at the edge of a storm, one he never imagined he'd be forced to weather. And Taylor Hayes, the ever-steady psychologist whose soothing words have redirected chaos for decades, suddenly finds herself stunned into silence by a revelation she never saw coming. This is the week everything erupts. Eric's unfiltered fury boils over. Eric's fragile recovery once the shared mission of his loved ones takes a sharp turn as he begins to sense that decisions about his life, his legacy, and even his autonomy have been made without him. The realization lands like a blow he never should have had to endure. The walls of the Forrester mansion seem to vibrate as Eric confronts Ridge midweek, his voice layered with betrayal, shock, and heartbreak. The father who once looked at Ridge with unwavering pride now stares at him through a lens of blistering disappointment. How dare Ridge, Eric seethes, assume control of his fashion house, his life's work before he was even out of the woods, and worse, how dare he and Brooke selectively decide what truths he could or could not handle. It all erupts one afternoon when Ridge arrives with updates about Eric's medical follow UPS, delivered with that familiar air of authoritative concern. But Eric is done being coddled. Done being handled. Done being treated like a fragile artifact in a glass case. What I need is honesty, Eric fires back, his tone sharp enough to cut. Not decisions made behind my back. Ridge tries to defend himself, insisting he acted out of love, fear, desperation, but Eric isn't hearing it. This is a raw, wounded side of him rarely seen. Suddenly, a brief silence follows. But it's the kind that precedes destruction. Eric's fury spills over, fueled by months of fear and helplessness, emotions he hid behind bravado and designer suits. He declares he's reclaiming control of the company, his designs, and most importantly, his decisions. Ridge, stunned, struggles to hold his ground, but Eric's determination is immovable. The week's tension crescendos with a gut punch moment. Eric demands a full explanation about everything Ridge and Brooke kept from him, including medical evaluations, Donna's hidden worries, and the Forrester Creations plan that nearly went forward without him. Eric's pride is wounded. His trust feels ruptured. And his explosive fury leaves the entire Forrester clan on edge. Donna caught in the middle. Donna tries to bridge the divide, rushing between father and son in hopes of restoring peace. But even her comforting presence, so often Eric's anchor, barely steadies him this time. Guilt consumes her. She knew the truth for weeks. She kept the secrets. She played the role of caretaker, but now that Eric has regained his strength and clarity, she fears he may never look at her the same way again. The distance that forms between them leaves Donna trembling, desperate to explain but afraid that doing so will only fuel the fire. Taylor returns to a bombshell. While the Forrester mansion descends into emotional upheaval, Taylor Hayes returns to Los Angeles believing she's walking into familiar territory. She expects tension, there always is, but nothing prepares her for what she's about to learn. What she discovers leaves her completely and utterly speechless. Taylor arrives just in time to witness the tail end of Eric and Ridge's explosive confrontation. But it's when she pulls Ridge aside later that she receives the shock. Ridge confesses the truth about Eric's medical condition, how close they came to losing him, and how Ridge took control of Forrester Creations in anticipation that Eric wouldn't survive. Taylor is stunned. Completely silent. Ridge, realizing how heavy the confession sounds out loud, waits anxiously for her response. But Taylor can't speak. She never imagined Ridge would carry such a burden alone. Nor can she reconcile the idea that the Forresters prepared themselves for Eric's death while the patriarch himself had no idea what was unfolding around him. But the shock doesn't stop there. Brooke, sensing Taylor's return as another complication in an already explosive week, offers her own version of events, polished, protective, and squarely defensive of Ridge. And in typical fashion, tensions flare between the two women. However, this time Taylor doesn't fight back. She's too stunned by the truth. Too shaken by the secrecy. Too overwhelmed by the idea that the man she once loved was ready to step into his father's shoes before Eric had even taken his last breath. It strikes Taylor deeply. Ridge didn't just try to save Eric. He tried to control the narrative of his legacy. And that, more than anything, leaves her silent. Steffi steps in with force. Steffi, always ready to protect Ridge, immediately confronts Taylor's hesitation, causing unexpected friction between mother and daughter. Steffi reminds Taylor that Ridge acted out of love. But Taylor, calm and thoughtful, implies that sometimes love is not an excuse, it's a disguise for fear. This disagreement marks a rare rift between them, one that threatens to widen as the week continues. A new Forrester divide emerges. By Friday, the storyline takes an even sharper turn. Eric, tired of secrecy and determined to reclaim his power, calls an emergency meeting at Forrester Creations. He stands before the entire team: Donna, Brooke, Ridge, Steffi, Thomas, with a commanding presence that reminds everyone who built this empire. He announces major decisions. Some expected, some shocking. Eric hints at restoring old alliances, removing certain power structures, and reclaiming authority in ways Ridge doesn't expect or want. But it's his final declaration that sends gasps around the room. "I'm not done," Eric says. "Not with life. Not with love. And certainly not with this company." Taylor, watching from the doorway, is still speechless. Not just from the revelations she learned earlier, but from the fire burning in Eric's eyes. A fire she feared was extinguished. What comes next? The week of December 8-12 is a turning point, one that sets up a fierce battle for the future of Forrester Creations and the emotional landscape of every major character. Eric's fury is not temporary. Taylor's shock is not easily resolved. Ridge finds himself torn between defending his choices and facing the consequences of playing God with his father's life, and as the truth unravels, one thing becomes clear: this family is about to enter a war of loyalty, legacy, and love, one that could change everything moving forward.